October 1989 at a Toyota engineering facility in Higashi, Fuji, Japan. Lead engineer Kenichi Kawano stands before a dyno cell, watching a brand new V8 engine complete its 10,000th hour of continuous full-throttle testing. The test protocol is, honestly, brutal. Red line, cool down, then right back to red line again, for months on end. The engine in question is a 4.0-liter V8, designated 1UZ-FE, and it's destined for Toyota's new luxury sedan, the Lexus LS400. This engine is designed to compete with the likes of Mercedes and BMW, to prove that Toyota can build not just reliability, but real refinement. A technician approaches with the latest measurement data, still within spec, no measurable wear on any component, compression is 99.8% of baseline, Kawano nods, expected. But then the technician adds something that makes him pause. Sir, we've been monitoring the modification potential as requested. With conservative boost from a turbocharger, this engine could safely produce 450 to 500 horsepower on the stock bottom end. That information stays in this room. The 1UZ is a luxury engine. It's designed for refinement and smoothness, not modification. If the motorsport community discovers what this engine can do, it compromises everything we're building. But sir, shouldn't we? No. The 1UZ will be the world's most refined V8. Not the most powerful, not the most tunable, the most refined. That's the mission. Nothing else matters. This is the story of the 1UZ-FE, the engine Toyota built to compete with Mercedes that accidentally became a grassroots performance icon, and why Toyota spent 2 decades pretending the performance community didn't exist, even as their luxury engine dominated drag strips, drift circuits and engine swap builds all over the world. To understand the 1UZ-FE, you really need to look back at Toyota's crisis in the late 1980s. They totally dominated reliability, they absolutely owned efficiency, and honestly, they were outselling just about everyone in economy cars. But yeah, they had a luxury problem. Mercedes and BMW, they owned the premium market. Toyota's most expensive sedan at the time, the Cressida, topped out at about $25,000. Meanwhile, Mercedes S-Class buyers were spending $60,000 and, well, they felt superior doing it, because German engineering meant prestige. Japanese engineering, on the other hand, just meant cheap reliability. Toyota's executives really hated this. I mean, they had built the world's most reliable cars, but they just couldn't charge those premium prices. The market saw Toyota as competent, but never exceptional, never luxurious. So, in 1983, Toyota chairman A.G. Toyoda issued a challenge. Build a luxury car that beats Mercedes at their own game, not by just being reliable, but by being better, smoother, quieter, more refined. The project was codenamed F1, and just to be clear, that didn't mean Formula One, it stood for Flagship One, and the engine, well, that would be its centerpiece. Because, honestly, luxury car buyers judge everything by the engine, the smoothness, the sound, the power delivery. Toyota knew they needed a V8, not because V8s were efficient, but because premium buyers simply expected them. Mercedes had V8s, BMW had V8s. If Toyota wanted to compete, they needed one too. But, they couldn't just build any V8. It had to be the smoothest, quietest, most refined V8 ever produced. It had to embarrass the Germans at their own specialty. The program started in 1986 with an impossible directive. Build a V8 that's smoother than a V12, make it silent at idle, make it last 300,000 miles with minimal maintenance, and make sure it's so well balanced that you can stand a champagne glass on the valve cover at idle without it falling over. That last requirement wasn't marketing, it was an actual engineering specification. When Toyota's engineers started designing the 1UZ-FE in 1986, they really had no template to follow. Honda hadn't built a V8, and Nissan's V8s were, well, mostly truck engines. The only Japanese luxury V8 was in the Toyota Century, and honestly, that was pretty outdated. So, they studied Mercedes and BMW, like, obsessively. They bought S-Class and 7 Series vehicles, tore them apart, measured everything, and came to the conclusion that German V8s were good, but kind of compromised. The Germans prioritized power over smoothness, performance over refinement. Toyota decided to do the opposite. The 1UZ would prioritize smoothness above all else. The block was aluminum, not cast iron, so lighter, better heat dissipation but definitely more expensive and harder to manufacture to tight tolerances. The crankshaft was forged steel with 8 counterweights, most V8s used 4 or 6. 8 was, honestly, overkill, but it resulted in perfect balance at all engine speeds. The connecting rods were forged titanium. Yeah, titanium, in 1989, for a luxury sedan engine, because titanium rods were lighter, which reduced reciprocating mass, which, in turn, improved smoothness. The pistons were low-friction designs with molybdenum coatings. The piston pins were offset to reduce piston slap. And the wrist pins, they were hollow to save weight. Every rotating component was balanced to tolerances measured in fractions of a gram. The entire rotating assembly was then balanced as a unit. If it was off by more than 2 grams, they disassembled it and started over. The valve train used bucket-over shim lifters. No rocker arms, just direct actuation. Fewer moving parts meant less noise and better reliability. And let's talk about the engine mounts. Toyota designed special hydraulic engine mounts that actively dampened vibration. They weren't just rubber bushings. They were these sophisticated hydraulic systems that adapted to engine speed and load. The result was an engine so smooth that at idle, you honestly couldn't feel it running. The champagne glass test wasn't just marketing, it was real. A glass of champagne placed on the valve cover at idle wouldn't spill a drop. But here's what Toyota didn't advertise. What they discovered during testing, but never really publicized. All that over-engineering for smoothness had an unintended consequence. The 1UZ FE